Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be a big Patreon deep dive. Everything that you want to know, whether you are planning on signing up and you're like, how the hell does this whole thing work? Or if you've been thinking about it but you're not sure, or if you're just curious and nosy and you want to understand a bit more about how I use Patreon in my business and my creative projects. I talk about Patreon a lot in my videos and on social media. It's been a huge part of what has allowed me to be a content creator and a sex educator for so many years in this fickle industry where YouTubers and creators come and go, but I've been in the game for 12 years now. And honestly, Patreon is probably one of the main reasons for that. Making things for my patrons and engaging with that community, I think might be my favorite part of the job. I mean, there's lots of good parts, but that is a truly special part. When I came back from maternity leave, I did a big survey on my Instagram asking you guys a whole bunch of questions about all of the different projects and things that I do, and also just like how you consume content online. And one of the things that came up was that people wanted to understand the Patreon more, because I'm mentioning it all the time and people are confused and like, what is that? And maybe need a little bit of persuading. This isn't really a sales pitch, it's more of an information video, and then you can do with it what you want. I also asked some of my patrons for their reviews of being a patron of mine and why they're a patron, and you'll see / hear some of those sprinkled out throughout the video, but I felt weird voicing my own praise, and so I asked some friends to do those voiceovers for me. So I hope you enjoy those throughout the video as well.
I enjoy all the behind the scenes stuff immensely.
So let's strip this back and start with, what is Patreon? And I am going to quote directly from Patreon's website, because they are quite a big Silicon Valley company, and so, you know, they've got the money to do the research into what is the best language to describe what it is the platform does. On Patreon, you can let your fans become active participants in the work they love by offering them a monthly membership. You give them access to exclusive content, community, and insight into your creative process. In exchange, you get the freedom to do your best work and the stability you need to build an independent creative career. There we go. Done. End of video. No. So I have been using Patreon as a way of funding my work since 2014. So 9 years now. And Patreon as a company was founded in 2013. So I am an OG Patreon creator, and the way that I have used it has changed over time. But last year, the last financial year, Patreon accounted for 23.4% of my income, which is pretty substantial. Why did I start a Patreon? So I started shortly after I moved to London, moved to the big city after finishing my degree in history, and I knew that I wanted to give being a full-time creator and sex educator a chance. So I moved to London, I got part-time jobs, and I was doing YouTube on the side and trying to make it work. And I'd heard about Patreon. Some of my favorite creators were shouting about Patreon and starting to use Patreon. And so I thought, that sounds like a great idea. I'm gonna do that. And that is how it began. And it really gave me the financial freedom in order to experiment and also just like put a lot of effort and time into making videos. And then by the summer of 2015, I was able to go full time with being a content creator. And so if that's not a success story, I don't know what is. No, but I really do have my patrons at that time. And if you are still a patron now and you were back then, like, thank you, wow.
To me, being a patron is a great way to support my favourite content creator. I've been watching Hannah's videos for over 8 years now, and giving her a couple of dollars monthly is the least I could do to thank her for an amazing free content. Also, Hannah's Discord server is the best, warmest place ever.
So, why Patreon? Like, what is this fan-funded thing all about? Why does it need to exist? what is the point? Firstly, it feels really lovely to support creators and content that you like. If there is content out there that you are consuming for free and you find it really valuable and you're able to give a little back to that creator to say thank you for making it and to help them make more stuff, that feels really good for everyone involved. Secondly, with my main subject matter, sex and relationships, it is not suitable for most advertisers on YouTube. And so it is actually really difficult to make money on YouTube when you're talking about sex. And then there's also the whole world of like censorship and algorithms on all different kinds of social media platforms. It is quite risky. Like, you never know when a post or your whole account is just going to be removed because it's not adhering to some random guidelines that a sex negative tech company has decided is going to be in place. And so that is why like direct funding from fans, from your audience, from your viewers is so crucial.
To be honest, I support all my creators on Patreon for the same reason. I love the content they create and want to help them continue to make it. I almost never support creators on Patreon for specific perks or extra content. I simply want them to be paid at all more better for what they're already providing. For Hannah specifically, I wanted to ensure that someone making educational, important and otherwise hard to find content that is difficult to monetize could continue to do so.
Next up is the diversification of revenue. I've talked about this loads in like my money and income streams videos, but not having all of your eggs in one basket is so important when you are a freelancer. And I think the pandemic kind of showed this for a lot of people as well. When you have all of your money eggs in one basket and that source of income gets taken away from you, then you're like, what on earth do I do? And Patreon for me gives me that diversification. If one thing is taken away, I still have this thing. If this other thing is taken away, I still got this other thing.
I'm a patron basically exclusively because I think Hannah does an incredible public service which she should be paid for. I don't even really use the perks if I'm honest. I just truly believe that Hannah deserves financial security and this is the most direct way of contributing to that. She's brilliant at what she does, is very inclusive and puts such time and care into doing her job well. I wish we could create some kind of extra pot where we crowdfund her a bonus at Christmas like she might get if she worked for a company.
Having a Patreon means that I'm less reliant on taking sponsorships that I wouldn't otherwise take and just the general whims of the algorithms of the internet. These are things that I have no control over, whereas my Patreon, I have loads of control over. And things like sponsorships and brand deals, I don't know when they're going to come in. It's a lot more sporadic. It's about brands deciding that they want to work with me rather than me being in control of that revenue stream. Like, I could have a really bad month when it comes to sponsorships, and also depending on the season and current events and all sorts of other things, sometimes advertisers are just like, nope, we're not spending any money or anything right now. And so then if that's your primary source of income, then you might be a bit screwed. But if you have a Patreon, the other thing that it can give creators is creative freedom. So this means being able to make what you want, maybe even experiment a little bit without feeling the pressure to make things that are gonna be mainstream popular. And I talked about this a little bit in my mid-year goals video about having to like let go of that a little bit. But even if my videos aren't being seen by the masses, they are still financially viable and sustainable because of Patreon. Because a small number of people have decided that the content that I make is worth paying for, everyone else can have it for free. But if that small amount of people is big enough, then it means that it can stay free, and it means that I can experiment and have creative freedom and make what I like and have a good time with that.
I'd been thinking of joining for a while as I love Hannah's content, and after following her journey to and during pregnancy, and I realised the reality of not getting proper maternity leave, I wanted to support in any way I could, and saw this as a good way of doing so. I remained a Patreon for the community. The Discord group has been so amazing. I also want Hannah to be able to make content that interests her without having to always worry about the financial implications. I love the podcast, for example, but I know it doesn't make money. There are other perks, but honestly, I'd still likely be a Patreon even without those.
And then the other thing that it can allow creators to do is build a business and build a team and expand if that's something that they want to do. When I first started making YouTube videos and when I was first starting out on Patreon, I was a one-woman band. I was doing absolutely everything myself. And now I have a team. I've got a video editor, an assistant, and a producer, and also like other ad hoc people that I work with. And there is a lot of work involved behind the scenes for us as a team to be able to produce all of this free content for you. So I also asked on my Instagram if you had any questions specifically about Patreon, and there are a fair few about the Patreon tiers. Cost of tiers. Is the lower tier still good? What do you get at every stage/tier? What content are the patrons getting that regular YouTube subscribers aren't? These are all great questions, and I'm going to answer them for you now. My Patreon has 3 different tiers. The first tier is community, and that costs £3 a month. The next is content, and that costs £4.50 a month. And the next is cahoots, and that costs £8.50 a month. Depending on where you live in the world, you will see those prices in your local currency. And if you're confused as to why they're kind of weird pricings, it's because when I first signed up to Patreon, you could only set your tiers in dollars. And then there was a time when you could switch it over. And I used the currency exchange tables that Patreon shared in terms of what they were using on their back end to figure out what I should charge at each tier. So it was originally $3, $5, and $10. And obviously I didn't want to then do £3, £5, £10 because that's a bit of a shitty move. So that's why those prices exist. So the first tier, the community tier, this is stuff that everybody gets, and that is access to the Common Room Discord server, which I'll talk about in a bit. This tier also gets early access to YouTube videos, so a whole 24 hours in advance. My patrons can watch the videos and comment on them. There's always people in the comments being like, how did this person leave a comment 18 hours ago? And then it's like, Patreon. And then other things that all patrons get access to is a welcome pack when you first sign up. And so that is a whole bunch of phone and desktop wallpapers. There's also a huge playlist of like loads of my like old videos from years and years ago that patrons have access to. And then there's also a whole bunch of bonus videos that are in that playlist as well that patrons can watch. Patrons get my Sexy Scribbles digital colouring in books for free. They are available there. And then of course there's the Patreon only feed, so I'll occasionally do posts there with like updates and behind the scenes, or just asking for people's feedback and opinions. I might be missing things, but I think that's what everybody gets. And then at the next tier, the content tier, this is where there's a bit more bonus content. So at this tier, you get access to the Common Room's private RSS feed. So this is where you can get early and ad-free episodes of the Doing It podcast, and also exclusive to Patreon, behind the scenes episodes of So How Was That For You, which is where me and my producer Mia discuss what happened in each episode, what came up for us, and a bit of a behind the scenes look at the making of it. And then there's another Patreon exclusive podcast called the Hand Dan Podcast, where me and my husband Dan sit and chat about stuff. We've talked about loads of different things. We've discussed our relationship and the birth and like Dan's experience of being a dad, lots of things. And then also at this tier, there is a monthly reading list. So every month I put together a list of videos and articles and podcasts that I have consumed and thought were interesting and wanted to share with you. And then at the Cahoots tier, this is where you'll find the Patreon only monthly live streams. And so this is 1 hour every month, and it's just a chance to talk directly to me, have a little chat, we do a Q&A. It's a really casual, fun, lovely time. And then also, if you're at the Cahoots tier, you get your name in the credits at the end of Hannah Witton and Friends videos as a big thank you. And then I also should mention that the content and the Cahoots tiers also have their own special places in the Discord server to discuss things like the exclusive podcasts or the reading list, or like what went down in that month's live stream.
I'm here for the financial support and the Hand Dan podcast. All the behind the scenes content you did made me realise just how important a regular financial income is, even if it's just one part of the sum.
Okay, so there were some other questions about tiers. Is there a set amount I have to pay each month, a minimum? So yes, the minimum to become one of my patrons is £3 per month, but you can pledge more than that, for instance, but you do have to be at a tier. So if you sign up for the community tier, but then you put in £10, you're not going to be able to get what's at the higher tier. If you want to give me £10 per month, I would recommend signing up for the Cahoots tier and then just making it 10. You have to be, it's not about how much you pledge, you have to like sign up for a specific tier, but the minimum is £3 and there is no maximum, but most people just pay whatever the tier says it is.
I joined Hannah's Patreon because I wanted to support her as a creator. I was also interested in the exclusive content. They are alone absolutely worth the money, and the Discord community is lovely. Hannah hangs out in there, but the community thrives on its own. The monthly reading list has become a surprise favourite as I found new favourite creators and interesting articles, videos and podcasts I would have never come across. Thank you, Hannah.
Is an audience member supporting via only the cheapest option even helpful for the creator? Oh my God, yes it is, because if people thought it wasn't helpful, then no one would sign up and then no one would be a patron. But even that £3 a month, when it adds up from everybody who is at that tier, then it adds up and it's so helpful.
I joined to support Hannah's maternity leave. Love the Discord and early plus extra podcast episodes.
Could we get a walkthrough to see what we can find and how it is organised? Why yes, I thought you would never ask. So when you first become a member of my Patreon, this is what appears. Membership confirmed. You are now a patron of Hannah Witton. Let's get exploring. Get started. So it takes you to this page and you will find your welcome note. This is the welcome note for if you sign up at the highest tier. So this is like the most information that would be, but then there's like less information depending on what your tier is. So it's a big thank you, where you can find stuff. So there's a link to the pinned post, which is like your best bet, like navigating all of the like past bonus content that you want to get access to. And then it also explains all of the different perks and how they work and how you would access them. And then there's also this video that I forgot I made, and I just gave it a bit of a rewatch to check if it needs updating, but no, it says everything that it needs to say. You can enjoy past Hannah in her home office and studio before I moved out to the studio and we had a baby. And then if you are signed up at the mid or the top tier, then you will see this link to the RSS feed and it will tell you how you connect those so you can access the Common Room exclusive podcasts. So that's when you first sign up. But if you were then to go to the homepage, if you are a patron of mine, then this is what patreon.com/Hannah Witton is going to look like. So as you can see here, there is a pinned post. This is where you navigate everything. It gives you all the information about the welcome pack, which you can download here, the secret video playlist, how to get the podcast, how to access past Sexy Scribbles pages, instructions on how to connect to the Discord server. Like, this is your navigation thing. If you are confused about any of this stuff and you need help, then if you either DM me on Patreon or you comment on that post, I will get a notification and so I can jump in and try and help you. If we come back up to the top though, you can see that there are these sections. So these are tags. This is kind of currently how Patreon is organized, or at least how I use tags in order to like organize my content in this way. So there's updates. So this is where there'll be like lots of kind of like behind the scenes updates and letting you in a bit kind of like into personal life and also like creative process and like asking for your feedback and opinions on things and like, yeah, just letting you know like what's going on. Patreon exclusive, this is where you can find things that you wouldn't find anywhere else. So that's mostly like reading lists and the podcast episodes and then the occasional like video as well. This is where you can find all of the reading lists. This is where you can find all the live streams. So the live streams happen once a month, but the VODs are available. If you're not able to watch it live, then you can go back and you can watch them at your leisure. Videos, I mean, these are all the videos that are on YouTube anyway, but I still tag them with videos when you get early access. What other tags have we got? Doing It podcast, so all of the podcast episode. Polls, so when I'm asking you questions about things, and then you can specifically go here if you want to find all the episodes of the Hand Down podcast, and then Doing It Debrief is the tag that you need if you want episodes of So How Was That For You? If you just keep scrolling, then you'll see posts, you'll see stuff that is going on. But that is essentially how to navigate and how I organize my Patreon. Patreon also has a DM feature, so you can go to messages. This is where it is for me. I'm not sure where it would be for a Patreon, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it, probably in the same place. Yeah, I don't promise that I'll reply to DMs because I don't want to advertise my Patreon as like, you can pay to direct message me, because that's not the vibe that we're going for. But if there is something that you feel like you want to share with me that you don't necessarily want to like post publicly in the Discord server, then do feel free to use that, especially if you need help like navigating some of the technical stuff around Patreon or Discord. I am happy to help, but I will say that I don't promise to reply to everyone because that's not the vibe. But yes, there's my Patreon. So now let's talk about money. What percentage of your income comes from Patreon and where does it go? So I made a whole video with my revenue streams and stuff. So I figured out that last year my Patreon income was 23.4% of my income, and this is where it goes. So what do I spend that on? This is not like direct, like money from Patreon goes specifically towards these projects. All of my income from all the different revenue streams basically like goes into one account and one pot, and so then all expenses come out of that. But these are generally my main expenses. The biggest one is my team. I have a team of people helping me make all of this amazing content for you and make my life easier. Thank you. So there's Moog, who is my creative assistant, and she does so much behind the scenes work on the podcast social media, YouTube metadata and analytics, podcast show notes and transcripts, stuff to do with the website, like so much. And then there is my producer Mia, who I brought on when I was pregnant to kind of help offload a lot of the stuff that I was doing over my maternity leave, and now that I have childcare responsibilities as well. And so she helps produce the YouTube channels and the podcast, and yeah, I mean, there's so much that is involved in that, but it's essentially like sharing a lot of the stuff that I do, so helping come up with video ideas, being on shoots, doing research for videos, liaising with our video editor, researching podcast guests and coming up with questions, like so much. Then there is Bethan, who is my video editor, and that is a bit more self-explanatory. She edits these videos and makes the thumbnails and makes GIFs, and it's wonderful. And we make a lot of videos, so there is a lot of editing to do. And then on a more ad hoc basis, I work with different researchers and writers to help with video scripts. And then also on a more ad hoc basis, depending on what the video is, and if it's a bit more ambitious and it demands the extra attention, then we'll work with a videographer to help us film it. And then there's all sorts of various other collaborators on and off camera who I pay as well. Obviously I paid Kate, who is the designer who did like my whole rebrand and redesign recently. And then also boring things like I have an accountant who I have to pay as well. So that's the like team element of things.
I joined to support Hannah's maternity leave and stayed for the vibes. I love to lurk in the Discord and all the extra podcast content. It's all right up my sex ed special interest alley. But mostly I'm here because I think artists should be paid for their work. And if I can do that directly, all the better.
There's also my studio that I have to pay rent on, and you might be thinking, why are you filming at home then? Well, Rowan has been ill this week, and so Dan and I are navigating childcare and work together, and I need to be filming at home today, so that's why I'm here. And then other things I pay for are like lots of different creative tools and subscriptions, so that's things like Google Drive and Google Workspace and Adobe Creative Cloud and Canva and Squarespace and captions and transcription services, that whole world of things. And then at the end of it all, there's me. I deserve to get paid too, wouldn't you know? So that is a bit of a sense of where that money is going.
I joined the Patreon a bit longer than a year ago because Hannah's videos and podcasts have been crucial to me in my own sexual journey. They inspire me to explore, be more open and comfortable. Hannah is the only YouTuber I support on Patreon because she's the only one I truly care about and love all the content she creates. I joined to support Hannah's content and specifically the podcast because I know it costs her a lot and doesn't earn much. I didn't really join for the perks. I don't really use them.
Okay, next up, let's talk about Discord. I want to become a Patreon, but I don't understand what the Discord server is or how I'd use it, etc. Great question, and I feel like there is a lot of mystery surrounding the Discord if you've never heard of it or used it before, and so hopefully this can help. So all patrons get access to the Common Room Discord server, and it is essentially a big chat room. It's like a group chat, but a very organised group chat. It's not necessary to join if you are a patron. It is an opt-in thing. Not all of my patrons are on the Discord server, but if you are interested in the community aspect of joining Patreon, then this is like the place to be.
Hannah's Discord is one of 2 Discords I actually check. So many good channels and topics in there and all sorts of people, which means if you're looking for someone to freak out about a new album with you, there's probably someone there to do it with you. And if you're visiting a place on the other side of the world, there's probably someone who can recommend places to visit. The network I never knew I needed, 100% worth the access fee.
Could you run through what Discord is and what yours is like? Once again, I thought you'd never ask. So I'm going to show you how this one looks on my phone because Discord has a really great web app, but also has a really great mobile app. And I probably use it similarly on both, but we're here now on my phone. So let's do it. Welcome to the Common Room Discord server. This might look quite overwhelming at first, but I promise you it is manageable to use. As you can see, here is all of the different channels that we have. And if I click into each one, then you can see people chatting away and chilling out. I'm obviously not gonna like go in there because privacy for those people. You can kind of get a sense of what's going on. So we have a whole bunch of admin servers, very boring. You can have a look and see what they are. Then there's this whole community section, so general chat, a place to people introduce themselves, wish people happy birthday, obviously photo dumps, a place where people can discuss meetups, obviously a memes channel, and then of course a whole channel where people can post pictures of their pets and animals. If the channel is highlighted in white, for me that means that there are messages in there that I haven't seen yet. Oh, and also this is Discord's dark mode, but it has light mode, but I don't know what kind of heathen uses Discord in light mode. Then we have our whole real talk section, and this is where people can discuss things about sex, relationships, LGBTQ+, mental health, disability. We have a whole section as well called Kids Table, where we talk about pregnancy and parenting and all of that kind of stuff. Feminism, politics. Life-Changing Magic is about like life organization and that kind of stuff. Worker Bees is like an accountability group, and then there's a whole separate COVID chat because we needed that. Still do sometimes. Hi gorgeous, do you want to say hello to Auntie Bethan? So then we have the I consume, therefore I am section, which is where everyone talks about media. So we have a latest spoilers section. In Discord, there's this brilliant thing where you can like add spoiler bars to your text, and so it comes up with just like black bars over what you've said, and if you give it a little spoiler tag, then someone will know if they should click on it or not to read what is underneath. And we use that system for media spoilers, but then also like trigger and content warnings as well. So then people can talk about videos and TV and books and films and podcasts and music, and there are a lot of Taylor Swift fans in this server, and so we had to create a whole other channel called Music Taylor's Version, obviously because we were taking over the music chat and we needed to let people have space to talk about artists other than Taylor Swift. You're also totally welcome in the Discord server if you don't like Taylor Swift, just putting it out there. But other things that also have their own separate threads are Wordle. So people are still sharing their Wordle scores every day, love it. And then more recently, Eurovision. So people could like chat about that and live Discord, their thoughts and feelings. I tried to get involved, but Rowan did not want to sleep that night. And then next up we have other interests. So do I look like a slut is the like fashion and style section. Then there's food and health and fitness. What else have we got? travel. I was recently asking for people's advice this morning in the travel section about where the fuck I should go on holiday this year. We have a separate Wizarding World channel, and that is because, yes, a lot of us are Harry Potter fans, but we're also very aware of J.K. Rowling's transphobia. And so whilst that could go in like books and films, we want to avoid having mentions of like Harry Potter or J.K. Rowling in those places where people maybe don't want to see it at all. So it's like a separate place where people can talk about Harry Potter, but anyone that does not want to be reminded of that shit show doesn't have to be. And then The More You Know is like talking about education and school and sports. And then at the bottom here, you can see the bonus channels. So the reading list, the podcasts, the private live stream. Oh, and Twitch sub hangout. Oh yeah, had some Twitch subs who had access to the Discord server as well, but I've not streamed on Twitch in years. So there it is. That is the Discord server. It can feel quite overwhelming at first, but the people in there are very, very lovely. It can help you navigate your way around, and you don't have to be chatting in all of the channels at the same time. There's some people who like, you know, only talk in some and don't care about the others, and that is kind of how it should be. We don't have to be interested in everything.
I became a Patreon to support Hannah's sex education work, especially the podcast, and I stayed for the Discord server. Everyone on there is fantastic. So much love and support.
So I had some other questions about the Discord, like how often do you chat to people on there, and how often are you active in the Discord? And I am basically active in there daily. It is my favorite place to hang out on the internet. If something is happening and I have that urge of like, I want to tell people about this, or like I want to share, and like, what did other people think of this TV show, or whatever it might be, like my Discord is the first place that I will go to like scream about something. And also it has been really useful for me personally in terms of the kids table chat and like asking fellow parents for advice and help and support. I very much use the Discord myself as well. But the community thrives on its own. It's not based around me. Like everyone else is like talking to each other and have their own friendships and relationships too.
Joined in 2018 for the early video access, stayed for the potential future flatmates / Taylor Swift channel. A-star 10 out of 10 community building.
Do I need to interact, or can I just lurk there? You can absolutely just lurk. That is totally valid. Is Discord overwhelming? Everyone sounds nice and fun, but I never know how invested to be. Great question. It can be overwhelming at first, I'm not gonna lie, but you can be as involved as you like and there are no obligations. Do you get kicked off the Discord if you miss a month? So this is a really good question. Because Patreon and Discord have like an automatic integration. So the way that you get access to the server is by linking your Patreon and your Discord account. It is all automatic. So yes, if you unsubscribe from my Patreon or you miss a month, then you will be booted out of the Discord server, and then you will be re-added when you rejoin Patreon and connect the two again. That is something that is out of my control, but also I'm very grateful for, because the admin involved in like adding people and removing people and adding people would just be too much. So it is just taken care of. Okay, and so then we have some FAQs. Is it only web or also app? So Patreon does have an app, but it is pretty limited. And I would say the best place to access everything is on the web. Although I think they are currently trying to improve the app, so that might change in the future. When's the best time to start it? So I'll be honest with you, my Patreon was set up so you get charged when you first subscribe, when you first join, and then you get charged on the 1st of every month. However, I think Patreon is changing this or has changed this. So like whatever date it is that you sign up, then your monthly billing cycle is reflective of that. But I don't know if that's happened yet. So I think, but again, I might be wrong, you get billed around the 1st of every month. And I'm telling you this because essentially if you sign up on the 30th of a month, potentially you might get billed then, and then you might also then get billed the next day or 2 days later. Best time to start, probably around the beginning of the month. Also, if you join the Cahoots tier, around the beginning of the month is when I put out the poll to ask people when they are free for the live stream. So if you want to be able to have a say in when you're free, if you want to join, then that comes out around like the first week of the month. And then the other thing that happens at the beginning is on the 5th of every month, that's when the payout happens on my end. And so on the 5th of every month, that's when I gather all of the names at the Cahoots tier, and then that becomes the credits list for that month. So if you join my Patreon at the Cahoots tier on the 6th of the month, then you probably won't see your name in the credits until the following month. There you go. I don't think I've ever explained that before, but I hope that is useful information. Can we choose support one month and not the next? I'm a student with variable income. You can absolutely do that, but you just have to do it manually yourself and go in and cancel your membership and then rejoin. Can we just pop on for a month? Yes, again, you can absolutely do that. Also, I'm aware that Patreon are working on being able to do like gifted months soon, so hopefully that will be a thing, and if and when they launch that, I'm planning on like gifting a whole bunch of people a month of Patreon so they can try it for free. Can you quit anytime? Yes, you can. If I sign up now, can I access old Patreon content? Absolutely. When you sign up, you then get access to the whole Patreon archive. Do you do Patreon meet and greets? So not officially, but things have happened just casually from interacting with other people in the Discord server. So a few months ago, me and some of the other parents in the Discord server met up in a park in London with our kids and like had a fun like parent, baby, toddler hangout, which was really lovely. And then also a bunch of my patrons are Maisie Peters fans, and I also happen to be a Maisie Peters fan, and a bunch of us had tickets for her London show, like separately, like we're all going in our own like friend groups, and a bunch of us met up at Wagamama's for dinner before the gig. And so we all got to hang out and have dinner together and then go off and see Maisie Peters. It was great. Informal things like that happen, and I always do see people like messaging in the Discord server like, oh, who's around in this city, like for a visit or things. And then also there are meetups that happen that I'm not involved in, like it's other people meeting each other. And all of these meetups were never like, oh, come meet me. It was more like the community were meeting each other and I was like, I can come too. I'm available. Do you feel like you owe us content for us subscribing as patrons? So I don't think I do. I think it could be easy to feel that way, but my patrons are genuinely like so chill, and if I say like I'm ill or I'm pregnant or I'm having a baby and I can't like post content at the moment, they're like, rest, it's fine, we just support you because we want to, we don't need all the extra stuff. So I think my patrons make it easier for me to not feel so obliged, and it's more of a giving relationship on both sides. So they're giving to me because they want to, and then I give back to them because I want to, not because that there's any obligation between us. How do you find your side of the parasocial relationship? Great question, and one that I think is really important to address head on. And actually, I remember probably a couple of years ago now, I was lurking on a conversation that some of my patrons were having in the Discord server about parasocial relationships, where they were being really honest about the fact that because they're in the Discord server with me, they do feel closer to me, but then they're aware that they're paying for that access. So it is still parasocial in a way. And I was just like, I love this self-awareness. I love this transparency. So it is true, like it is still very much a parasocial relationship. It is a relationship where money is being exchanged one way, but that doesn't mean that that relationship doesn't include mutual respect. And yes, my patrons are probably members of my audience that I know the best. Like I know their names and their pets' names and their kids' names, and I've met some of them and their kids, and I know details about their personal lives that I don't know about other members of my audience, but that doesn't make us friends. Do you know what I mean? We're friendly, and there's mutual respect and care there. Absolutely, I care for them. But there's also a very grown-up and adult awareness between us all of like what the relationship is. And I think that's healthy. What are some advantages versus other options like YouTube membership? For me, it's just because I've been on Patreon so long, it would be really difficult to like move everything or like start something new when patrons are getting all of this stuff plus the archive. Like it doesn't seem fair because it wouldn't be the same value. So Patreon take a cut of subscriptions, and that cut for me is 5% because I'm on the founders plan. After May 2019, they changed it because there's different ways as a creator that you can sign up. On the version that I'm on, if I were to like sign up new as a creator, it would be 8%. But for me, they take 5%, but then there's also like payment processing fees and like currency exchange, and then I get paid via PayPal, so like PayPal take a cut. So it is more than 5%. One of my friends who's also on Patreon said that she tried to like add it up one time and figure out what the actual percentage was, and she said that it was around 20%. And then things like YouTube memberships, they take a 30% cut. So also financially, it still like makes so much more sense for me to be on Patreon. Are you a patron of any other creators? Why, yes, I am. And I think it's public. I think you can see like on my Patreon profile who I'm a patron of. I'm not sure, but I'm a patron of some YouTubers that I like, sex educators, musicians. So yeah. I thoroughly believe in the concept of paying content creators and artists for the work that you like. Should we be worried about being locked in? Is it hard to unsubscribe? No, it is not. It is very easy. You go to your memberships, you click on the creator, and you go to cancel or edit payment.
Coming from a family who never talked about sex or sexuality, Hannah's channels have been crucial for me and how I talk with my partner. Being able to support Hannah was really important after she became pregnant and had Rowan. Thank you for everything you and your team do.
And then I also got some questions that were more in the realm of creator questions. And I don't have time to answer them in this video, and they're also kind of like a separate topic. But if you are interested in knowing more and you're a patron and you're also a creator on Patreon and you want to understand a bit more of that side of things, then let me know, because I actually have done a talk before for other creators about how I built my business on Patreon. And so I'd be happy to share some of my knowledge. But some of those questions are like, what strategies work best for you to convert followers to patrons? What didn't go well but made you learn a lot? There are no mistakes, only lessons to be learned. And I agree, because my Patreon has gone through a lot of different iterations. And what does the setup look like as a creator? How customizable is it? So these are all questions that I'm happy to answer, but we'll probably do on Patreon. What fun. And then finally, why is the extra content worth paying for? Hope that doesn't sound rude. Why is the extra content worth paying for? For me, it's a no-brainer, like all of those reasons that I said before about why being a creator on Patreon is really helpful for, you know, being a full-time content creator. For you, that's up to you. Only you can say if it's worth it. Some people just sign up to be a patron just to support. They don't care about the content. For other people, it is only about the extra perks. So whether or not it is worth joining for the extra content, that is only a decision that you can make, because the value is different depending on the person. So there we have it. I hope that this has been an interesting resource, a whole bunch of information for you. Thank you so much to my patrons for sending in your reviews. Thank you to my friends for reading them out. And thank you honestly to everybody who watches my videos and listens to the podcast and engages with the content. I know that not everybody can afford to join the Patreon, even if they wanted to. And you know, that is absolutely fine. Everybody is living their own lives and doing their own thing. And it is entirely an optional opt-in thing, and I appreciate all of you. I hope that you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!